Hello. I don't have a name for this YouTube channel yet, but essentially the goal of this YouTube channel is to read books that help people in the world who are looking for like self-help or business knowledge or just any form of information on self-help, and generally just creative people who want to just learn how to use their mind in order to just get them on that right path and or just make money in the world. So essentially, I'm just reading self-help books that most entrepreneurs or most successful entrepreneurs read, as well as just other books that would necessarily just benefit the mind in a way. So the first book that I'm going to read is by an author named John Assaraf, which he has written two other books called Having It All and The Answer, which he just describes how he got his magnificent lifestyle. And essentially, John Assaraf is a man who has been in a lot of movies. I've seen him in The Secret, and well, that's the only movie I've seen him in for real. But I've just seen him all over the place when it comes to the subconscious mind. And essentially, in this book, Innercise, it he just describes how you can take control of your subconscious mind in order to make it easier to achieve your goals. And the way like John Assaraf describes how you achieve your goals is essentially just priming your subconscious mind and being committed to a goal. Because if you're not committed to a goal, according to John Assaraf, you're wasting your time. I agree with him on that. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. So let's dive into the book. So the contents are the introduction, foreword, before you begin, the Innercise Revolution, and part 1, part 2, and part 3. I'm going to skip the introduction, before you begin, the Innercise Revolution, because those essentially just I wouldn't say it's filler, but it's not really what we're here for. We're here to learn about the subconscious mind. So essentially, there are 4 parts in the part 1. It's not your fault, meet the gorilla, upgrade to brain 2.0, and buff your brain. And in this video, I'm just gonna go over I'm going to read part 1 of John Assaraf's book Innercise. And after today, I'll just keep reading. And at the end of the video, I'll tell you what books I'm gonna read next. So know thy brain. It is on page 11. So if you have your copy of this book, then you can read along. Picture a grain of sand. Can you see it? Let me help. It's about the size of this period below. And then there are 2 arrows and a period. Well, 2 arrows pointing to a period on the page. Right here. Right there, literally. Now imagine that instead of being a tiny being of a grain of sand, this dot is actually a tiny piece of your brain, just a little speck of what we call gray matter. If you could look closely enough, first you discovered this dot is actually made up of special nerves called neurons, and this tiny speck of brain, the one that's the size of a grain of sand, can contain as many as 100,000 of these neurons. Look even closer. These neurons are talking to each other, sending signals across connections called synapses. There can be up to 1 billion connections in that tiny speck alone. 1 billion. Now step back. Zoom out and see that instead of 1 dot, you have thousands upon thousands of these dots accumulating into billions of neurons and trillions of connections. These numbers, billions, trillions, are mind-bending in scope. Taken in totality, they make your brain one of the most complex life forms in the universe. Taken in totality, they make your brain one of the most complex life forms in the known universe. Many think of this like it's no big deal, if they think of it at all. But this 3-pound miracle is a big deal. Your brain does a staggering amount of work. It runs your organs and regulates your temperature. It operates your immune system. It repairs the constant damage done to your body. It also controls your muscles and runs your digestive system. It keeps your heart beating, your eyes moving, your hair growing. It warns you of danger and fights cancer and welcomes in love and pleasure. And that's still scratching the surface. There is faith, consciousness, instinct, and so much more. It does all this while you drive a car. Think about that great American novel you write. Think about that great American novel you want to write and talk through a challenging problem with somebody with someone you trust. Everything from tiny to huge, from the mundane to epic, your brain does it all, and it does so with complexity and mysterious elegance that the most dedicated scientists in the world have yet to even begin to understand. Every moment of brilliant genius, breathtaking creativity, and astonishing accomplishment in human history was accomplished with an evolving brain made up of stuff like yours. The Fortune 500 CEO's brain, same stuff. The coworker who lost all that weight, the friend who quit her job and started a successful business, Lincoln's brain, Einstein's brain, same stuff. Of course, there are differences. Some people have regions with greater amounts of creativity or intellect or empathy, and brain chemistry varies. DNA varies. But still, our brains are made up of the same stuff, or as neuroscientists would say, of a consistent molecular architecture. I imagine many of you are shaking your heads right now, questioning, really? If my brain is so powerful, why do I have so much trouble achieving what I want? The answer will amaze you. Setting goals versus achieving goals. Think for a moment about the last time you set a goal. I'm not referring to cutting the grass or doing your taxes, but something much larger and more important. Something that you would add the greater purpose and meaning you yearn for. Perhaps you want to start a business, or earn more income, fall in love, feel better about yourself. Whatever your goal, if it is important to you, there is a good chance something will eventually happen. You will fall short. Whatever your goal, if it is important to you, then there's a good chance something will eventually happen. You will fall short. Don't get me wrong, I'm an eternal opportunist. You give me lemons and I'll find a way to make lemonade. It's not just a positive attitude. I know plenty of can-do people who find out they can't do. It's not just about talent. Mediocrity is often rewarded in business and government, particularly when flash is more appealing than substance. And it's not about hard work. New business owners reportedly work an average of 30 to 60 hours a week. Often with a minimal paycheck coming in, yet 80% of startups do not survive past 36 months. Clearly, attitude, talent, and a strong work ethic are critical. But most of our big goals are not achieved because we set ourselves up to fail. Just look at the statistics for those who try to lose weight, or at the high percentage of troubled marriages. Better yet, don't rely on statistics from some big university study. Ask your friends how they fared with their New Year's resolutions. All these underscores the thinking that achieving goals is hard. But wait, is it true? Think about it. How often have you imagined yourself richer, thinner, or happier, more connected, better liked, kinder, or more generous? Think of the times you've wanted a shiny new car, a promotion, or a date with the amazing person you just met. Defining your goals can come to you just as naturally as eating and sleeping. In fact, one of the great marvels of the modern human brain is we have the capacity to look toward the future with effortless grace. So when it comes to goal setting, that's anything but hard. We are in many ways goal desiring and goal setting machines. That's not the trouble, but reaching them can be. It's in taking action and moving toward our goals consistently, even when things go awry, as they almost certainly will. In one moment, we might be filled with the rush of neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, or endorphins, all which make us feel motivated, energetic, confident, and the next thing we know, we haven't even gotten off the couch and dove into what needs to be done. Or maybe we what needs to be done. Or maybe we do get going, filled with energy and good intentions, like when we kick off the new year with a new exercise and diet plan. But somewhere along the way, we lose our mojo and we drift, almost imperceptibly at times, right back to where we started. Why is it so hard to accomplish what we set out to do? Your brain has two priorities. Well, that's a subtitle. Take heart. It's more complicated than you think as to why your workouts trailed off, or why you couldn't come up with a clear picture of who your target market would be for your dream business. Yes, your brain is amazing, but it is also a work in progress. From the earliest known human ancestors living some 7 million years ago to today, our brains have slowly, steadily transformed and continue to. For that transformation to be possible, to get from hominid brain to your brain, the organ evolved under two important principles. The first is safety. More than anything, brains need to survive in order to live long enough to reproduce and pass brain improvements to the next generation. Brains cannot die too soon. This means that your brain has naturally evolved to keep you safe emotionally, physically, and mentally. The second is efficiency. Remember that long list of jobs your brain is taking control of, from blinking your eyes to thinking analytically. The only way to get all that done is to be efficient with energy. Your brain has to focus on energy conservation so that it can do more with less. These two factors have a distinct effect on how the brain you have works today. Running from the jaws of a saber-toothed tiger to swerving around a distracted driver, your brain has evolved instinctually automatic responses to make sure you move out of harm's way, to be efficient rather than learn from scratch new habits for every single thought, emotion, and action. Your brain instead relies on familiar behaviors that can be implemented with very little energy. Safety and efficiency help you survive, but they don't ensure you will thrive. Those ultra-fast response. Cool beans. Those ultra-fast responses, the instincts and automated ways of thinking, feeling, and acting that serve so well to keep you alive and running efficiently come with a cost though. Those ultra-fast responses, the instincts and automated ways of thinking, feeling, and acting that serve so well to keep you alive and running efficiently come with a cost though. They run most of your life, and thus in many ways you are more or less a collection of habits, many of which you're barely aware of. Your life, in other words, is largely on autopilot. This is called automatic. I apologize for the cut, but I received a call, so I had to pick it up. Because only important people call me. As responses, the instincts and automated ways of thinking, feeling, and acting that serve so well to keep you alive and running efficiently come with a cost though. They run most of your life, and thus in many ways you are more or less a collection of habits, many of which you're barely aware of. Your life, in other words, is largely on autopilot. This is called automaticity, and it's why you keep getting results you don't like, not once, not twice, but over and over again. When you think, feel, and act the same way, when you are habituated to stay the same way, your life turns out more or less the same way too. Change threatens the brain. That is the subtitle. Survival is an issue for all life forms. Every living organism adapts or evolves to meet changing threats, environments, needs. There should be an "and" right there. There are very rare exceptions. For instance, sulfur bacteria found off the coast of Western Australia show no evidence of having evolved in nearly 2 billion years, but we humans are definitely not among those rarities. In fact, we have evolved substantially. Our brains are now 3 times larger than our earliest ancestors, and the shapes of our brains have changed to an accommodating learning language, analytical thinking, consciousness, cultural and technological advances, and more. Yet your brain hasn't adapted well in some fundamental ways too. My friend Dr. Adam Ghazali a neuroscience professor at the University of California, San Francisco, says that we are all burdened with ancient brains trying to focus and survive in a high-tech world. Here's an example of what Adam means. Your goal to lose weight might seem exciting and inspiring to you, but your ancient brain wants to keep you that weight or in case on. Let me reread that sentence. Your goal to lose weight might seem exciting and inspiring to you, but your ancient brain wants you to keep that weight on in case there is a famine around the corner. Or the idea of leaving your job to start a business might send a tingle of excitement down your spine, but your ancient brain worries that the loss of your current job and income could lead to starvation. To your brain, almost any change you want to make is interpreted as potential risk, emotionally, financially, physically, mentally, spiritually, and socially. And the mother of them all, a risk perceived as potentially one that could kill you. All of this leads to the same quandary every time. Setting goals isn't hard, achieving them is hard. Because as far as your brain is concerned, radical change is a potential threat. When we look at change this way, we begin to see the light at the end of a very dark tunnel. In your own life, this may show up as glimpses of answers to some nagging questions like these. Why do I keep starting to change and end up right where I started? Why is it hard to break the thought patterns I have, the emotional patterns, the behavior patterns? Why do I get stuck earning the same income? Why is it hard to leave a job or relationship that is no longer satisfying and rewarding? Why do I continually sabotage myself with every diet I try? And perhaps the most nagging one of all, why can't I seem to complete the goals that would bring me what I want? The answer to each is the same: significant change. For the brain, feels like a significant threat, and it will do everything possible to resist leaving its comfort zone. Consider the thermostat in your home. It keeps the temperature the same no matter if it's hot or cold outside. If you open a window in the winter to let in some fresh air, the thermostat registers the change and turns the heat on, bringing your home back to normal so that you will feel safe and snug. Your mental and emotional habits of a lifetime have set the temperature at a certain point too, so you're comfortable within a certain range of feelings, behaviors, and thoughts. But when you try to change the way you feel or think or act, to open a window to let some fresh air, the thermostat in your brain kicks in to bring the right kicks in. Let me reread that. But when you try to change the way you feel or think or act, to open a window to let in some fresh air, the thermostat in your brain kicks in to bring you right back to what it has come to known as your normal comfort zone. The result is you stay stuck or maybe embattled with yourself to eke out slow incremental gains instead of the giant steps you envisioned. Yet some people do manage to override this resistance and achieve change. They lose weight and keep it off. They start businesses that fuel them. They get promoted. They earn more. They have loving and fulfilling relationships. They find true happiness. They write a book and take dancing lessons. They thrive, not just survived. And so can you. But to do this, you have to understand that you have one. You have to understand that you have not one brain, but two. Not literally, but you know. And the neat thing about this one book is that John Assaraf was just so kind enough to summarize the chapters. In most books they don't typically do that because I don't know. I can't tell you because I'm not an author yet. But I don't know. But here's the summary for this chapter 1 of John Assaraf's book of Innercise. Your brain is an astonishing, complex, and powerful organ, but for all that power, reaching your goals can seem impossible at times. Here's the second point. Your brain has evolved greatly to keep you safe and running efficiently, but priorities are different now than they were 7 million years ago. Your brain, though, is still a work in progress and often struggles to keep up with the changes needed to meet your new priorities. And actually, old habits and automated ways of thinking, feeling, and acting can keep you stuck. and we shall continue with chapter 2 of John Assaraf's book, Innercise. And chapter 2 is called Meet the Gorilla: How Your Two Brains Are Keeping You Stuck. And the quote from Albert Einstein, which precedes this chapter, is, "Two things are infinite: the universe and human stupidity." And I'm not I'm not sure about the universe. Yeah. So, yeah, I just finished chapter 1. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you enjoyed my first video of reading a chapter of a book that helps someone in the world every day, then consider subscribing and liking the video so that more people can watch the video. Well, they don't have to watch it, but just listen to the video and just absorb the information in this book, because I will get better every single video reading, and one day I'm gonna just open a book and just be like, I'm gonna just read it literally, like it's gonna sound like some shit off Audible. But yeah, you're at the end of the video, and I told you guys the other books that I was gonna read. So my tripod with my phone is currently sitting on them right now. And the first book I have is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I'll read that right after I'm done with Innercise. In about, I might try to finish this in a week for real, because I genuinely want to finish a book in a week, because I'm young, and I need to just use my time as a young male to just cultivate my mind, in a sense that I should build a strong foundation for the rest of my life, in the sense that I shouldn't read this shit when I'm like fucking 35. Well, I'm not saying you shouldn't read when you're 35. Like, by all means, if you're 35 watching this video, read like all these books. But I just don't want to say the excuse later in life, like, oh, I should have read it when I was younger. Like, I had them, but I should have read them. Like, nah, I'm doing that shit right now. And because I mean, like, you could literally read the same book 20 times and just see it 20 different ways. But yeah. So first book is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. The second book is The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. The third book is Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert T. Kiyosaki. And the fourth book is Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss. I also have other books too that I might read. I also have Sadhguru's book, I think it's called Inner Engineering, and I have hella books, bro. Oh God, I splurged out one day at Barnes and Nobles, and I just bought hella books. And I'm gonna keep buying more books, cause like these people didn't write these books for no fucking reason. Like, you feel me? They wrote them for a reason. So I'm gonna just read them, cause I know they're valuable, cause bro, like, these people didn't make multi-million-dollar companies scamming people, and if they did, then shit. I mean, I know Napoleon Hill ain't scammed nobody, and Benjamin Graham, like these books are just staples, and they have they've bared the test of time. I mean, John Assaraf, he's a relatively new author. Well, I won't say new, but he's a newer author compared to Napoleon Hill and Benjamin Graham and Rich Dad Poor Dad, which has been out since literally, like, I think 20 years ago, man. Like, this book came out like 4 years ago. All right, I wanted to read that first because that's like kind of 2020, but yeah, I'm kind of just not necessarily rambling, but yeah, I'm just talking. But have a blessed day. If you enjoyed the video and enjoy the books that I'm going to read after Innercise, then consider subscribing, sharing the video, and liking it, because even if maybe this book isn't for you, maybe it might be for your friend or for your mom or dad or somebody that you think should read a book. Or, like, if you're too lazy, just like listen to me read the book, because you're still technically reading, just you're not reading with your eyes. But with that being said, have a blessed day. Stay positive. Positive. Stay empowering. That's a better word. So stay empowered, stay free, mentally free, and have faith in your goals. Because if you don't believe in yourself, then why would you expect another person to? So with that being said, stay blessed and have a wonderful day.